Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is for the Attorney-General. Minister, given the recent finding of the New South Wales Coroner Teresa O'Sullivan that 12 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people died in custody in New South Wales this year, marking, in her words, a profoundly distressing milestone, what are you doing to implement the recommendations of the Royal Commission into Aboriginal deaths in custody?
Minister. Attorney-General.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Speaker. And I thank the member for Ballina for her question and her care in relation to this issue. In fact, it's an issue we all care deeply about because each one of these deaths, Mr Speaker, is an absolute tragedy, and we take this issue very seriously. I also acknowledge that my ministerial colleague, the Minister for Corrections, is looking closely at deaths in custody, particularly the deaths of Aboriginal people whom we know are particularly vulnerable in custodial settings. Mr Speaker, an inquest must be held when a person dies in corrections or in police custody or because of a police operation. Police are also required to conduct a critical incident investigation overseen by the LEC when a person dies or is seriously injured in police custody. I want to assure the member for Ballina that the government is working hard to reduce all preventable deaths in custody. This includes work to improve design and safety across correctional centres. So to this end, the government's invested $16 million to make our prisons safer by removing hanging points. There's also a thematic review of Aboriginal deaths in custody, which is also due to report back next year. The review is looking at recurring and emerging themes arising from coronial findings, corrective services, justice, health and forensic mental health network investigations into Aboriginal deaths in custody. The government will consider any recommendations arising from those reports and reviews carefully and seriously. Mr Speaker, we do not want to see Aboriginal people disproportionately imprisoned. That's why we are partnering with local communities to address crime and its causes. Boxar data demonstrates clearly that rising remand rates are largely behind the increasing number of Aboriginal people in custody. So I think it's worth taking a minute to step through why that's happening. To be clear, these rising remand rates are a direct result of increased targeting of the scourge of domestic violence and making it harder for those accused of serious domestic violence offences to get bail. Domestic violence offenders are amongst the most dangerous criminals in our society, and this government makes no apologies for putting community safety first. We've also introduced and extended a strict bail test for young people accused of serious break and enter and car theft offences. This kind of offending is unacceptable and cannot and will not be allowed to continue. I do want to be clear, however, that no government can arrest our way out of these issues, which is why we are working with communities to reduce crime and its underlying causes. Just yesterday we announced that we're reforming the Young Offenders Act to make it easier for young people to access diversionary measures. Rather than locking young people up, what we're trying to do is stop them from going down a criminal pathway in the first place. These changes complement a $23 million investment in targeted funding to address youth crime and improve community safety. It bolsters support for high priority regional communities and provides support for young...
Attorney-General, Member for Ballina. Additional 2 minutes is granted.
Bolsters support for high priority regional communities and provides support for young people to comply with their bail conditions. Other key projects being undertaken to further the government's aims include expanding the successful merit program to reach more than 90% of eligible defendants across New South Wales. It provides a range of drug and alcohol treatment services for 12 weeks while someone's court matter is adjourned. Mr Speaker, at the same time we're ensuring the ongoing delivery of the drug court in New South Wales, which has been an outstanding success. We've also funded the Aboriginal Legal Service to deliver the Bail Advocacy program, which provides holistic, culturally appropriate support to young people. The government has expanded access to alternative sentencing for Aboriginal offenders through circle sentencing courts. Circle sentencing is available to eligible defendants who plead guilty to or are found guilty of criminal offences in a local court. And so rather than being sentenced by a magistrate alone, defendants are sentenced by a magistrate alongside representatives from the local Aboriginal community, such as elders. The court has the full sentencing power of a traditional court for offenders who meet the criteria and are assessed as suitable. A 2020 Boxar study found Aboriginal people who participated in circle sentencing were almost 10% less likely to offend compared to those sentenced to a non-custodial sentence in a traditional way. And so, Mr Speaker, these are just some of the ways We are supporting the welfare of vulnerable populations in our criminal justice correctional settings. We're continuing to work towards our Closing the Gap targets to ensure the safety and wellbeing of Aboriginal communities. And so, Mr Speaker, I say once again something that every person in this place feels, that every single one of those deaths is a tragedy, and the Minsk Labor government, in fact all of us, takes this issue very seriously. There is more work to do, but we remain focused on this significant and difficult body of work. And so, Mr Speaker, we'll have more to say about this when we reconvene next year.